How's it hanging, everyone? It's Thursday night it's Thursday night, March 3rd, and it is time for yet another episode of Super Deluxe Games Cast. I am here to flip the script and kind of turn the conversation upside down. And I'll tell you what, my opinions are going to have you on your head. I'm so proud of him.
Yes,
nice.
God, yeah, this is good. Holy shit!
Also, everybody
let's,
listening is gonna be so confused at the
John,
beginning of this.
I think has
his
camera physically upside down and didn't realize it.
No, his house is upside down. It's in one of those Ripley Believe It or Not houses.
John, you moved to Australia.
No, as Justin stated before we started the show, I cleared the first part of Dracula's castle, and I'm in the inverted stage now. Ooh, Derek, what are you drinking?
It's a gin, old fashioned.
Oh, all right,
share.
all right.
Share.
Well, and that awesome voice you're hearing right now is Rebecca Valentine, formerly of this podcast, now of IGN, doing incredible work. Reb, I am so excited that you're back. Like, I've been waiting for this all week. This is so cool.
Yeah. I can't believe you've been doing boring, normal podcasts this entire time, and then when I come back, you suddenly throw back in the technical chaos that has not been in the show at any point since I left, because that would never happen.
Once or twice.
Reb, this is all for you. This is just for you.
You turn yourself upside down just for little old me?
I did, Reb. I did. I try to come up with another upside down pun there, but I'm looking at myself on the screen right now, and I can hardly take myself seriously. So. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Reb, I mean, the way you have just been crushing it over at IGN, you just got an award. I mean, you were the Reb, what was the name of that award again? You were journalist, best investigative journalist.
The Rebird of the year.
The Rebird of the year.
The journalism award for the New York Video Game Critics.
Yes.
Circle. Yeah.
Wow. It was so much you've accomplished. And how long have you been at IGN now, Reb? It seems like a long time, but
it's been a year since it was a year on February 1st. So just a little over a year now.
I remember all of your like kind of internal debate and like, oh, this could be really good for me, but I'm really scared. And like you took that plunge and it's worked out so well for you. And genuinely, every time I see a story you're working on blow up, I just glow.
Me too. Me too. It has been so. It has been so incredibly gratifying for all of us to watch your career take off. We all knew it would.
I, for one, only buy games Reb reviews.
Me too.
Like, if it's not good enough for Reb, it's not good enough for me. And that's
the only reason
that's facts.
The only reason I'm even picking up Silk Song whenever it does release is because I know Reb thinks it's going to be good. If it's good enough for Reb, it's good enough for me. So, although I will say,
hi, Brett.
Where the hell is Silk Song? But hi, Brett.
Hello.
Yo, Britt, we're turning this shit upside down.
Why? Well, like, why are we doing Stranger Things? I don't understand.
I don't know, but
John woke up with this.
At any rate, Reb, it is so nice to have you back. No matter where you go in your career, you're always going to be part of our weird little family here. I love you for that. So, guys, we have two really big topics tonight. We're going to talk about Elden Ring, and we're going to talk about the advent of Gen 9 Pokemon, which I don't think anybody was really expecting to be announced.
Do you have internet where you
live?
Oh
my God, I was so worried it was
I was
worried.
It's John.
What?
So what John was trying to say is we're going to talk about Elden Ring, and then we're going to talk about Gen 9 Pokemon. We weren't, and which no one was really predicting, and other stuff.
What are you talking about?
Oh my God.
What are you talking about?
For all of our viewers and listeners, this is so funny.
Fix your
Doro
internet.
Arigato, Mr. Roboto over here.
John, your video and audio isn't working on top of being upside down.
Amazing.
Oh, we lost John.
So
okay, well,
blessing in disguise.
So Pokemon, huh?
Second oldest host now.
Is that?
Oh,
well, your camera's normal.
You're right.
Wait, hold up. Let me flip my camera around because I don't recognize you.
All right. We're gonna start. Do you guys want to kick off with what we've been playing?
Yeah.
Reb, you're our guest. Why don't you go first?
Well, I can't. I've been playing Elden Ring.
Well,
We're going to
that's
talk
true,
about that
yeah.
in a minute. I have not been playing. I have been playing nothing else. It has consumed my mind.
That's the good shit right there. Okay, so all right, so we're gonna so Reb's gonna pass, and we're gonna talk about Elden Ring. Obviously, is one of our big topics tonight. Derek, what are you playing this week, bud?
I got bad news for you.
What's the bad news, Derek?
It's just been fucking Elden Ring.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. All right, pass from fucking Derek.
Can I take a substitution? Because I think a lot of us are going to pass.
Of course,
a lot of us are going to pass because of Elden Ring is what we've been playing. So can I interject with a humorous anecdote?
Please.
Yeah.
So we had a chili cook-off at work. This has nothing to do with video games. We had a chili cook-off at work. For those of you who know or don't know, it doesn't matter. For all of you, I'm a really good cook. And I do make a really good chili. It's not overly spicy. It's very heavily seasoned. A lot of good earthy, bitter aromatics in there. A lot of coriander.
White beans or white bean or pinto bean?
Azuki beans.
They're one of my favorite gringos.
Red beans. Asian red beans. I use Asian chilies and jalapeno and poblano peppers. I use like saffron and turmeric. Like I'm going in there with the seasonings.
Saffron and chili. Now I'm intrigued.
Just a little bit, because the thing is, this chili ends up being kind of dark. Because I use coffee and beer as part of the liquid.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't. Here in the Midwest, people really like bright red chili. So I use turmeric and just a little saffron because it's just expensive, more for color than anything else. Although it does give you
them good.
Yes, but also it does. It's a good, nice, earthy kind of flavor. So here's the problem. There were only 5 entrants at work for this chili cook-off. And I got 4th place. But here's the thing. I could accept that if the other 3 chilies that beat me were good. Folks, they were not.
Were they the Master Chief chili recipe?
So the first chili, the one that won first place, was made largely with store-bought, store-brand salsa.
No.
Which does not make
are we
it
talking
fucking
like Pace
chili.
Conte shit?
New York City.
Kroger brand. Kroger
salsa
brand.
and chili? No,
Yes.
that's not right.
I think you could, but like,
Yeah,
why?
that's not,
No.
No, you don't put fucking salsa in chili. I don't care if it's...
it's not the right way around.
But it at least had flavor. Like somebody put spices in this and made a chili.
Fine.
Second place was virtually flavorless. It got second place from people voting because it had corn in it, which is not. I don't think corn should be in chili.
I'll allow it if the chili's good enough. I'll allow it, but
it's
like
not good though. It's
that
not
doesn't
corn.
elevate chili.
It didn't have much flavor.
The corn sounds distracting.
Corn does not elevate chili above having flavor.
Right. Chili number 3 was watery, and again drastically underseasoned. And then 4th place was mine. My wonderful, thick, hearty, very flavorful, very heavily seasoned chili.
Your chili's just like me.
Yeah, that I cooked for 4 hours in a Dutch oven because I go all the way with this stuff. And then 5th place was Hormel's. Somebody put a couple cans of Hormel's in a slow cooker.
Dude, at least you beat the Hormel's, man.
But what I learned is I should have known from the beginning, because the problem is that I cook food, and I should never have tried to make chili for a bunch of Midwestern white folks.
No.
It was just a losing proposition from the beginning.
Don't put any effort for white people. That's what I've done. And, my life is great.
Fair.
Yeah. So that, in lieu of anything gaming related at this point, my life has been in shambles. Because I lost to the most underseasoned chili I've ever tasted.
That was
You
the
lost
Elden Ring.
I love how
I lost to salsa.
I love how with everything happening in the world right now, I love that with everything happening throughout the world right now, your life is in shambles because of the chili cook-off.
Oh, well, my brain actively refuses to handle any of the rest of it, so.
Sometimes easier to think about problems that you can wrap your brain around.
I work in a news station, so with everything going on, I don't get to escape it. So my brain just goes, forest field. That's it.
All right.
I did an arm thing for listeners.
Finn, what are you playing this week? We know it's not Elden Ring.
Not Elden Ring, because I got taste.
Triangle strategy, I'm assuming.
That's not till Friday.
Tomorrow.
You also have like a small child, and Elden Ring doesn't have a pause function, so I see why that might be a problem for you.
Yeah, fatherhood is the Elden Ring.
No, I'm gonna get it on PC eventually.
My child,
they modded in a pause button.
That child can wait.
Play Elden Ring the way God intended. Paused. No, I've been playing. I got my platinum trophy in Infernax, and I've been playing Horizon Forbidden West. But I didn't. But I promptly then went to Mardi Gras for a week, so I haven't played any video games for a little bit. Oh no, never mind. I started Mother 3.
Yes, finally! Thank you, Finn. Finally, Finn and I met up in DC, and we had lunch, and I had a extra translated cart of Mother 3 that I gave him. He's never played it.
You just had one laying around, you know.
I have two. Yeah, I have two. And just extra. And you know what? I always like to keep a copy of Mother 3 in my pocket, just in case I need it. Yeah. And I gave it to Finn. And Finn, I am so excited to talk to you about this because Mother 3 is one of the greatest fucking RPGs ever.
I mean, Forbidden West, I'm not too terribly far because again, I took a whole break off it, but having 100% in Infernax, I can straight up say there's 0% chance that does not make my top 10 for this year. It is the best retro love letter since Shovel Knight or The Messenger. It's so damn good.
I've heard it's like a pastiche of Zelda 2 and
Castlevania
2. Yeah,
that is correct.
Yeah, I'd been playing it a little bit before Elden Ring came out, and I really liked what I've played of it so far. It's really fun.
I hear a cat.
Yeah, that's Reb's room. All up in the
it's Reb's cat. Okay, I was like,
Robo.
what?
I had to let her in because she was screaming at them.
But yeah, and then Horizon, I'm sure we'll get into that eventually on our own after hours.
For sure.
But that game is phenomenal. I have yet to encounter anything I don't like about it. I'll just say that compared to Horizon 1's slower start, Forbidden West does not have that lull, which I think is very nice.
Okay. Awesome. I'll go next because I'm going to be quick. Obviously, I've been playing Elden Ring, which we're going to get into in a bit. I've also been playing two other games. I've been playing Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster, which you guys have heard me talk about Final Fantasy VI a billion times. We won't get into that, but it's fucking awesome. Aside from those issues that everybody's already aware of. And today, I downloaded the demo for Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Kirby!
And I fired that up. It is gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm
it
waiting.
is so beautiful.
I didn't know there was
a demo dropped today. Yeah, like out of nowhere.
Surprise!
It is so fucking beautiful. Now I will say this: everybody was talking about this big open world Kirby game. Not exactly what it is. It's still split into levels. And people have been saying, oh, it's like Mario Odyssey. A far more apt comparison is like Super Mario 3D Land.
Yeah, I was gonna say it just looks like a Kirby, but a Kirby with 3D levels. And
like it's a 3D Kirby for sure. But it's far more akin. Like I felt like I was playing a Kirby version of Super Mario 3D Land on 3DS.
Hell yes. I love this.
It's beautiful. It's delightful. Mouthful mode is a little weird to see at first.
Mouthful.
But you'll get over it. There's a moment.
Kirby.
There's a moment in the early in the demo where Kirby swallows the card, he becomes Kirby, and Vicky was watching me over my shoulder. She goes, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Yeah, you know what? It's best if you don't ask questions, okay?" I was like, "Don't worry about mouthful mode." She says, "Wait, I'm sorry, it's called mouthful mode," and I was like, "Yeah, it's called mouthful."
Yeah,
mode.
It's called mouthful.
And she just like stared at me for a minute and walked off. I don't think she believed me. But
that is what I call when I order Taco Bell DoorDash. It's just mouthful mode.
Hell yeah!
I was gonna make a Taco Bell joke, Britt. Thank you for that.
Yes.
I refilled my Baja Blasts with water right now.
That's right.
So.
Justin's the only one representing.
You might have a few Baja Blast particles still in that water. It's homeopathic Baja Blast.
I know.
Oh, and also, by the way, I don't know if, but Mr. Delby in chat pointed this out, but I saw this earlier on Twitter. In Japan, they are coming out with Kirby boxes for Switch OLEDs.
Yeah, it looks like Kirby is eating the box. I love it.
It looks like Kirby
awesome.
ate the Switch OLED box. Yeah.
Does the OLED get like a design or anything though, or is it just
I think it's just the box.
Well, that's
it's like a Kirby box.
Kirby on the Switch.
If they came out with a Kirby SWOLED, I would absolutely.
I would upgrade it. I would finally upgrade it.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure.
Kirby SWOLED or Donkey Kong SWOLED. Those are the only two I would go for.
But I'm telling you right now, after playing 2 levels of that demo, the Kirby has become one of my most anticipated games this year. It was just pure joy from start to finish. I fucking loved it. CJ.
No surprise, I've also been playing Elden Ring. So we'll get into that.
Oh man,
I have a lot to say about that. I have a lot.
It's gonna be a meaty discussion, my friend.
But
that's why I got the alcohol, so I can just zone right the fuck out.
In keeping with the sort of themes of Elden Ring, you know, this like desolate world where you try to find joy in like death and destruction. I obviously went to go see a movie about that. And that movie was, of course, Jackass Forever.
Hell yeah!
Hell fucking listen. The theater was empty. Just me, my cousin, like 2 other people. I'm happy it was empty because I would have embarrassed myself with how hard I was laughing throughout. The absolute funniest movie I've seen in a theater. The hardest I've laughed. Just a wonderful, wonderful experience to see this series I've grown up with kind of grow up with me.
CJ, I got to show John Jackass the movie for the first time. He'd never experienced Jackass.
Well, really?
All time. Like, oh my god! Again, just they showed and Forever they showed clips from like the first Jackass and from the TV show, and I'm like, holy shit! I remember distinctly where I was like late night on TV watching it with my dad, and just being here now, experiencing it in a theater with my cousin, who I also watched a lot of clips with. We're just cracking the fuck up. He got really high before watching this too, and it was just such a great experience there. I loved it. I think it's just interesting. The first thing I did after watching it, went on Letterboxd, gave it that 5 stars, and I'm like, all right, yep, this is the greatest film of 2022 so far. I don't care.
Honestly, I had never seen the original Jackass, CJ, and one of my all-time favorite comedic moments is when Johnny Knoxville gets his shit right by Butterbean, and then he wakes up and he's like, "Is Butterbean okay?"
There's a bit like that here.
Fucking God.
There's a bit like that here where again, this man's like in his 50s, getting like
he's got it, yeah.
And he delivers a line immediately after getting like injured, but like badly. And it's that timing is absolutely perfect. There are comedians who spend their entire lives honing their craft, and they'll never come close to like the delivery of like, "Is Butterbean okay?" or this one scene in Forever.
Is Butterbean okay?
Is that Bob?
Oh my god.
It's fine.
You know what? It's okay. I've never seen a Jackass before either.
You gotta
Finn. What? Finn,
no,
Finn, like you need to.
You gotta change that, son.
Right now.
It's great.
I have no interest. Every time I've seen a trailer, I'm like,
"Oh, Finn." No, I thought I had no interest either, Finn, but I was wrong.
It's juvenile. Yes, it's gross. It's just painful.
Hey, I love juvenile. But like, I mean, that's 50% of my personality.
But, like, there's this sense of like brotherhood, this sense of like family.
They're big like LGBTQ supporters.
Exactly, 100%. They're
huge.
The new cast members were great too. Rachel Wolfson was funny. Fucking Jasper from Odd Future was there. I loved it. Any movie where I get to go see Machine Gun Kelly like in pain somehow. 10 out of 10.
Wow.
I fucking hate that dude. So,
See, I'd heard
not that I'm disagreeing with you.
Very wholesome. Like
it is
like just very heartwarming and specific.
Jackass is weirdly wholesome in general.
It is because it's just these guys who are friends with each other and they find funny. Look, I actually was like tearing up more here than I did like Spider-Man No Way Home, because there were like bits where at the end where they showed clips from the original movies and show, and I'm like, holy shit, like they did it. Like they managed to wrap everything up in this wonderful arc. If this is the last film, they did it. This is like the perfect conclusion to the series that I've loved forever. It's just
so
wonderful.
Fascinating to me because I feel like I've seen like tidbits of the first Jackass movie. I've not seen much more than that, and I feel like this concept, like if you came to me and pitched me the concept for the show, like with it having never been done before, I would say it could either go the way that this has, or it could be an absolute fucking train wreck of nasty bro behavior.
It is. Yep. It is, but like it's so like the show is that the show is nasty bro behavior. But then when they got funding for these movies, every single film had an arc. So the arc in this one, what was it? The arc in the first one is, all right, Jackass now has millions of dollars. Jackass 2 is Now they're all superstars. Jackass 3 is, all right, these guys clearly don't talk to each other anymore, and you can see that in this movie, but they kind of have to do it. And then and then in don't play me off, John. And then in Jackass 4, it's very much like, all right, we're getting the band back together. We're getting the band back together. This is it. This movie will either kill us, or because it is, or this is a proper way to say goodbye and introduce like a new generation, which they do, and I absolutely love it. And I'm done, John. There's your Oscar.
Thank you for telling me about that. I wanted to know about that.
In all seriousness, CJ, like seeing you that happy about something right now, like that's exactly what people need right now. Something to make them that happy, to bring them that kind of joy. That's we could all use a little bit more of that exuberance, to be honest. Britt.
I have been playing Pokemon and Horizon. I beat Pokemon, which is huge for me that I beat a game this early in the year, because I have been struggling playing single player games and beating them. And Horizon like slowly just tore me away from it, because I was super addicted to Pokemon. But it's like, it's funny how similar the gameplay is between Horizon and Pokemon, because it's like you're kneeling in bushes, you're sneaking, like, you know, and I kept like messing up the buttons. I'd switch back and forth between one game.
Oh, that happens to me all the time.
Yeah, and I just couldn't get it. But I've been playing Horizon, and it is, I can already tell right now, it is going to be my game of the year. I fucking love it. It's incredible. It has some of the most representation I've seen in any game. There's so many Black characters. There's so many Asian characters. Like they're just an abundance compared to white characters. Which
that was
is
something that I think the first game did really well too.
Mm-hmm.
I've also been playing Horizon, but like they not only have like a wide variety of people from different races, but like there's like also like various skin tones and people with like different types of pigmentation. Like I have this spot on my face that I'm kind of self-conscious about, where, you know, like I'm white, so it doesn't stand out all that much, but you know, I'm lacking pigmentation on this one spot. And like there are people with various levels of pigmentation, and like there's a lot of different body types represented in Horizon and stuff too. Right. It's something that I've always thought, like, you could tell it was a very conscious effort from Guerrilla's team. And yeah, they really, really leaned into that with the sequel as well.
Yeah, they and it's just like the abundance and just the detail that goes into it. It's like I see repeat like NPCs in town. The white ones are like, you know, repeat, same hair, whatever. But it's like every Black character I've seen so far has been like very detailed and very like it's their look. Like they don't really share a look with anybody else. So I loved that. And the biggest thing I love, and I was talking to Justin about this, was they sort your inventory in categories, so it tells you what you can sell, what is used for crafting, what are key items for crafting, and then like just stuff you keep in your pouch. And it's so helpful.
So it's an even more streamlined system than they had in the, because they did that really well in the first game too.
Right. No, it specifically puts it into those categories, and now you're not limited on how much you can pick up. You have a stash.
That's the
so
best
you
part.
can just endlessly, and that's all I've been doing. Like I've put so many hours into it. Yesterday I streamed for 2 hours and didn't even do any main story. I was just doing side quest, gathering, and just exploring. And it's just they did this really well in the first game, but it does a really good job of presenting this very huge world, but not like overwhelming you with it. Like it's very much you go at your own pace. It doesn't overwhelm you, and it's just a really awesome, good game to get into, and I'm really, really enjoying it.
Yeah, well, go Britt.
Britt, I actually have a question for you.
Yes.
I have not played this yet because I've been knee deep in Elden Ring.
Mm-hmm.
One of the few criticisms I've heard about Horizon is that Aloy is constantly telling you kind of like where to go or giving you strong hints on what to do and where to go. And I've heard a few people say it's a little too easy. I'd rather just explore the world and figure out where I need to be. But
no, it's literally just it's just in like certain areas. Like I don't mind that she talks, but like there are times where she will tell you what to do before you've even had a chance to look around the room and see where you're going. Or like, you know, you go around to just pick up the stuff in the room and she'll have told you what the next step of the puzzle is beforehand. It's only really in the puzzle areas. Like the combat is still quite challenging and you need to figure that stuff out and like the strategies and stuff.
Yo, the hippo enemies. Those things are awesome.
They just needed to tune that part.
Is the melee combat any better?
Yes.
Oh, like that a lot. That was my biggest.
It's very reminiscent to God of War. Like you get combos now.
Yeah, like there's actual combos. You can string them together, and there's like this mechanic where, as you hit stuff, it charges up your shield, or not your shield. It charges up your staff, and then if you do a strong hit with that, it like puts like an energy ball on them, and if you hit that, then it explodes and does a lot of damage. It's really fun.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I actually really enjoy that one. Like if you can combo it right, you'll just like run up them, kick them, and then jump into the air, go in slow motion, and fire an arrow at the spot.
That is the best combo.
It's incredibly satisfying and it's super cool.
One of my favorite moments from last gen was playing Horizon Zero Dawn and getting to that watchtower up in the mountain, that first watchtower up in the mountains before you get to Karja. And because I was like, man, this is a pretty big world. And then I realized there's a whole other section. Yeah, that trip up the mountain. And like all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, there's fucking more. And I cannot wait to play Forbidden West.
I have actually finished Forbidden West's story. I'm not done with all the side stuff. It's a much bigger game than the first. Like the actual like sheer size of the map isn't all that much bigger. It is bigger, but it's just like it's so much more dense and handcrafted with like actual worthwhile, well-made stuff.
It's so pretty.
To do.
The whole fucking game is so gorgeous.
It has like the most environment variety I have seen in an open world game in a long, long time.
And even though it's cross-gen, if you had told me it wasn't, I would have believed you.
Well, they did a really, really good job improving it for PS5.
It's gorgeous.
Like it's stunning. It's like, and it's so consistent. Like, Britt mentioned like the side stuff, and like you can tell almost every NPC conversation seems like it was done now with actual performance capture, not even just like. Because the first game did not have great animations and conversations and stuff, but now it's like full on high quality performance capture for like every conversation,
every character.
Like the side stuff, even though doesn't have as many like set piece moments, obviously, but like the quality of the side quests is really, really high and really, really consistent. The side stuff.
It also links back into like main story stuff you've done. Like that after completing it, like I have actually had references to like the end of the game come up like in some of the side stuff. It's really, really cool. It's one of those sequels that like if you liked the first one, you will love this one. Like, I don't know if it would win over people that didn't really like the first game, but if you like the first game, they really amped everything up. I had muscle memory playing this game. Like it was like I was going back. Like that's how similar the controls are, but it's like vastly different. Like in the sense of like the melee combat and the different abilities you can get, and it's just
they listened to the criticisms of the first game, and I think especially with all the 6 different upgrade trees, so you can customize Aloy to your play style.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So sorry, I kind of piggybacked off of Britt. Britt, were you done?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Okay, because I also have something else I've been playing that I'd like to talk about, which is Destiny 2's Witch Queen expansion.
Ah, yeah.
I have taken a bit of a break from Destiny for a while. The way they were kind of going with the seasonal model did not really click with me. But the most I've played Destiny on and off, since the first alpha. But my favorite time period in Destiny was the Taken King expansion for Destiny 1.
I'd agree with that.
Witch Queen is basically Taken King 2. It has combined so many of my favorite things about Destiny in such a great way and kind of reintroduced them and integrated them in a way that I think is digestible for people that haven't been following all that much. It's such a great re-entry point. They take a lot of some of the really deep lore stuff and actually put it on screen, put it in the game, in a really smart, easily accessible way, and also provide new context. So even if you're familiar with some of it, there's still like really good revelations for there. It's the first time that Bungie has really seemed to be able to tell a real story. Really deep story in this series. I loved the story. They had some amazing reveals. The mission design is so much different from how the Destiny campaigns usually are. They integrated a lot of raid and dungeon mechanics into the actual campaign and stuff now too. It's just, they have built up, like, this is like, it took them a very long time to get to this point, but like, some of the stuff that they finally reveal and finally show and finally like do in this is like the culmination of all 8 years of Destiny.
Oh, that's fantastic, dude.
And it's really exciting to see where it's going. And it's gotten its hooks in me all over again. And I'm so happy that it turned out this way because there were huge expectations for it. It got delayed. So then, people kept building even more and more. And I think and so far it seems like they have fully delivered. Which is awesome. That's not always how it's gone with Destiny, but no, Witch Queen has been great. I'm really, really happy with that.
Outstanding. All right. Well, now that we've got what we've been playing out of the way, it is time to leap into our first big topic for this week, guys. It is time to talk about Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster.
Hell yeah! All right, so
I'm handing in my resignation. It's been a good year with the podcast, and I have a lot of great memories. I'm going to remember the Balan Wonderworld review. I'm going to remember us talking about Nier. I'm going to remember, all these fun podcasts.
CJ, you didn't even get to review. CJ, you didn't even get to review Stranger of Paradise before you left.
You know what? It's okay. I'll take that L. I'll take the sacrifice. It's fine. You guys have a good life. I love it. All right. Thank you for having me.
How do we give John technical issues again?
It's really easy. I just mute him like this.
You got to think really hard. Negative thoughts about John, he'll flip over again.
I will, absolutely.
That comment single-handedly reminded Reb why she quit the podcast in the first place.
I know. Yeah. Wow. It really does.
You guys got me just to like, okay, who can we pawn our fucking Final Fantasy VI talk on? Who's like not initiated yet?
So it is. So for 90 hours now, I have been engrossed in Elden Ring.
90.
I'm over 90 hours into the game.
Wow.
I have not finished it.
Well, you had the game for roughly a week pre-release.
That's true.
Yes.
To be fair.
Yeah, I did. So we were lucky enough to get a review copy. Thank you, Bandai Namco. Elden Ring, a game that immediately to me felt at the same time incredibly familiar and like nothing I'd played before. I don't even like we did this big review on it, and I'm still finding. Reb, you had a tweet the other day that really spoke to me about how I feel about this game, in that I'll think all day about what I want to do in Elden Ring when I get home. Yeah. Right? I'm like, okay, this is my mission. This is where I'm going. I want to go to, and then on my way there, I get distracted by 1,000 fucking things, and I actually don't end up doing the thing that I had thought all day that I was going to do, because I have found so much shit off the beaten path.
Yes.
And this game has dug its way into my brain in a way that no game has in many, many years. It is one of my
feeling, John, you know that feeling? I don't know if you know this feeling. When you like have opened a Wikipedia for whatever reason, a Wikipedia article to learn about a thing, and you get like 2 paragraphs in, and there's like a link to some other thing that you didn't know existed, and you're like, wait, what's this? And you open that in a new tab, and you start reading. And
eventually you got 12 tabs open.
That's Elden Ring!
I do that all the time. And you are absolutely right. It is. I told Derek before he started playing it. I had the review code. I got it on a Wednesday, and after 24 hours, I called Derek and I said, "Dude, if you had told me that this was Dark Souls 4, I'd believe you." And it takes everything that From Software has done right with the Souls franchise and puts it into a world that feels more, at the same time, more alive and more dangerous than almost any other game world I have experienced. And Reb, I've seen you talking on Twitter at length about how Elden Ring has absolutely just clawed its way into your mind.
I was not gonna buy this game until like 2 weeks before it came out. I was like, I don't know. I played Dark Souls and liked it for 20 hours. I have better things to do. I'm not gonna play Elden Ring. Nah, I'm playing Elden Ring, baby.
It is.
I've seen that a lot, like just across the board. People are like, I'm like lukewarm on this, and then they're like, this is my fucking life. Like, eat, sleep, Elden Ring.
It does help that I think a lot of the more punishing aspects of the Soul series are gone here. Like, very famously, great example is a lot of the Dark Souls games punish you for dying with like reducing your maximum HP.
Right.
So you go like hollow form in the first Dark Souls if you die.
You gotta pop a humanity.
You need to use an item, which is relatively rare, to get back to being full health. But by doing so, you also open yourself up to invasion. And in Elden Ring, all it is you die. You Sekiro, you have the dragon rot, where NPCs start getting sick the more you die. And it feels like these games punish you because of the fact that they're hard. And I love these games. I've beaten the shit out of all these games. But it's very freeing to play Elden Ring, and if I die, I just go pick up my souls and I move on. Like, I don't have to sit here and sweat like, okay, well, I've got to worry about these limited consumables, to get myself back to full status. And I don't have to worry about invasions only happen if you're in co-op. So, I don't have to worry.
You can just turn them off.
You have to actively turn them on, basically.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about randomly being invaded by human players who are way over-leveled who will kick my ass when I'm just trying to vibe. And there's a lot of vibing. Like, Elden Ring's a great listening to a podcast game. Weirdly.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But I'll tell you what.
I've definitely put on some, Behind the Bastards and just, gone across the landscape and, checked out a little tower here and there.
I'll tell you, there was a moment in this game where when I truly realized that this game was something special was when I made it to the Siofra deep well in the Mistwoods, and I was like, oh, there's a little elevator that's going to take me down here. I wonder where this will take me. And I get in the elevator and I go down for like 45 fucking seconds. You're just going down, and then it opens up into this cavern that is mind-boggling in scope. Like, it looks like it's the size, like it's got a skybox. This cavern is so big, and it's got it looks like stars twinkling in the distance, and I was like, holy shit.
And you open up the map and you realize it's on a completely different map layer than the rest of everything else. You're like, there's an underground?
What?
I was like, what is this game? Like, how fucking big can this be?
Because it's so big. It's so big. I cannot express how big. Sorry, I can't express how big this is. Like, it is. It doesn't make sense that this game is this big because look, there are so many open world games out there. Open world is fucking done to death. I
hate 99% of them.
Exactly. Before Elden Ring, I would have told you I'm fucking sick of open world, smaller maps, condense everything, make small, intricate locations again. This is shit. And then we get Elden Ring, which is like a big world where the size is like thought about. Like, it's not just a bunch of like forests full of like stupid markers that I don't give a shit about.
Yeah,
like,
I'm so tired.
Is just put together and telling a story. Like, even when I'm like 4 zones in now, and I'm still like, everything feels like it's meaningful and put somewhere for a purpose, but it just keeps getting bigger. And I'm like, how is this so big? I saw Dark Souls. That was a decent size. That wasn't this big. How did you do this? Witchcraft shit.
It's one of the things I hate most about open world games, and it's so why I so rarely play and like any of them for long or enjoy. any of them is there's so much busy work, right? And I get overwhelmed by this Ubisoft style open world game format that so many games follow, where there's a billion radio towers to climb up and unlock, 1/18 of the map. And by the way, here's 17 different collectibles and 40 different side quests with, 8 markers each on the map. And here's a checklist of all the different types of things you can do.
I love it.
Elden Ring getting rid of all that shit actually gives me so much more desire to explore and remember where I've been. And I see a tower on a map because it's just a map, and I go, that looks like that could be a town or something. I should check that out. And I go and I check it out. And I find shit, and I love that.
It's because in a Ubisoft game, there's like, give or take, like 7 things to do. There are like 7 different things, and they're basically just copy pasted in the different spots on the map. And the enemies might be slightly harder, and the loot might be slightly different. But if you see a certain icon, you know exactly what that thing is going to be. But in Elden Ring, there is no 2 places are the same. Like, even if the towers look kind of similar, there's always some different shit at them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a completely different story.
One area you're fighting a dragon, the other one wolves fall out of the fucking sky when you
wolves fall out of the fucking sky.
Why are there wolves? It's raining cats and dogs, and they forgot the cats.
But look, it's interesting because like I love a bunch of open world games, but lately I haven't found that one I want to live in yet. So post Red Dead 2, post Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which doesn't count because I reviewed it, so I had to
want to live in the Elden Ring world, right? That's not what you're about to get at.
But so that feeling that Reb was talking about, like planning, like what you're gonna do when playing in that game, that's been me at work all week. And there was a moment where it hit where I'm like, oh shit, this isn't just another open world game. This isn't the Souls game. This is my new Phantom Pain. And what I mean by that is, when I first got my PS4, the first game I got was Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. Game, no, John, I don't think you understand.
That game rules for exactly 79 hours, and then you hit the end, and then
no. Try 300. I put 300 hours in that game before I finished it. I'm surprised I passed all my classes my freshman year when I got it. Because it became my life. I planned everything out. I absolutely love that game. Elden Ring is that for me now. Elden Ring has consumed everything. I have completely neglected. I wanted to like not do this podcast today. I'm gonna be straight up. I wanted to go fucking play Elden Ring, but I'm like, no, you know what? I should be on here to talk about it. I have to go to work tomorrow. I'm gonna be thinking about Elden Ring. All the boomers at the library are gonna talk to me about some bullshit. I'm thinking about Elden Ring. I don't care about anything else. This is the only game I want to play. I don't think you guys understand like that feeling. Like for the first time in like the longest time, I finally found a game that I want to go home and play. It has been so hard to find anything like that.
I agree. That's me with Horizon.
It is,
but I gotta know, CJ, did you rent it from the library or did you actually buy it?
I fucking bought it day one.
That's my boy.
Listen,
that's my boy.
I wasn't going to. The FOMO didn't hit. You know, I was gonna buy fucking Gran Turismo 7 instead. And I'm like, you know what? I was prepared. I set aside money for my paycheck for that game. I'm like, fuck it. I want a nice racing game to play. And then, the FOMO didn't hit because it's a Souls game. But then I started hearing open world. The next step, I listened to our review of it, and I'm like, oh shit, is this my new Phantom Pain? And then 20-something.
I want to take something you just said, CJ, and springboard off of that. When we say that this is an open world game, we mean exactly that.
There's no
and there's no borders. There's no it is without reservation. I say that
there's no borders, and the only gods and kings are the ones you're gonna fucking kill.
Absolutely,
true anarchist dream.
You can drown in the ocean.
I'll go as far as this.
Yeah,
I understand.
Like real life.
I understand why people like Breath of the Wild so much. I understand Breath of the Wild more because of this game. Because Breath of the Wild it didn't get me. Breath of the Wild didn't like hook me like everyone. Like I'm thinking I should love Breath of the Wild. It's like Phantom Pain, mechanics driven. Very little guidance, just this big open world. You do all the stuff. Didn't get me.
Breath of the Wild could almost stand to be like less Ubisofty and more
it does really take a lot from Western games.
Minimalism does so much for Elden Ring.
Because what Elden Ring is very much a Souls game. They just expanded upon everything.
Yeah.
And to the point where now I'm like, oh, I get Souls games now. I get From games now. I understand. I own almost all of them. the first thing I'm doing after, if I ever finish this game, if I ever learn this game, if I ever truly like come away like winning in the end, I'm going back and I'm playing through all of them.
That's my boy.
I am finally like souls pilled.
That's my boy.
Straight up. This is it.
He's souls pilled. There it is.
This is arguably like the greatest AAA game I played since Red Dead 2.
I'll tell you this much, CJ. This is in my top 10 games of all time.
It's brilliant.
It's one of my favorite games of all time. I've dropped 90 fucking hours into this game and I haven't finished it yet.
I'm 20 hours in, and I'm already feeling like, yep, this is something special. Like the whole discussion, our games art. This is that sort of like next step in that, right? This is it. This is how it uses games. It uses the language. It's the same way when you watch a Scorsese film and you understand the influences he uses, like Bergman or Kubrick or things like that. You see all the influences, you see all the pieces here, and you understand that it's sort of moving games and the language that games like have in an interesting way. It's a masterpiece. And for once, I'm glad to be a part of the conversation. I'm glad we're all on the same page. It reminds me a lot of when Halo Infinite launched and everyone just had nice things to say about Halo for once in like years. We're all talking about the same game and we're all having a good time. And I absolutely
to be fair, it's not all sugar and rainbows. Like Elden Ring has got some issues, especially in terms of performance and bugs.
Yeah, it does not run well.
There was
it runs really good for me on PS5.
It has some performance issues. There was a bad save bug. There was a bad save bug on PS5 for a while. I don't know if that's been fixed yet.
I think with the new patch.
Yeah, I think they just adjusted it. They didn't fix the crash, but they made it so that you won't lose your save.
Yeah. Well, and then
I just want to point out real quick, Derek, what Jeff said in chat. He said Jeffrington is in chat. He couldn't be here tonight. He said, I don't know if it's been addressed, but a very funny person once said, an Elden Ring is what happens when John calls you on Discord.
And that funny person was me.
I miss you, Jeff.
And on PC, really on PC, the game has some issues. It's got it weirdly runs on a wide variety of hardware, but it has this in particular, this like bad frame pacing issue. So it feels stuttery every so often, especially when it's like loading into a new boundary of like a new chunk of map. But it'll do this thing where it'll like freeze for a second. And then all of a sudden, after that second is over, that missing second suddenly plays out in like super fast forward to catch you back up.
I haven't experienced any of that.
Well, that only happens on PC. It doesn't seem to happen on the console version.
And that's so weird because I've seen more people saying that they're playing this on PC than any other platform.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Like
PC is huge for Souls
I
stuff.
have seen people for whom that has cost them like a fight in a boss fight where it freezes and then fast forwards and they've been hit by the boss's big old weapon. And that's not happened to me. But
I'd sell my PC.
Right, but I'm running on like a really strong computer and I've got the game installed on an NVMe drive. So like I might just have it on the most optimal hardware configuration. I don't know, but a lot of people are having issues with this PC port and like I don't know if it's quite ready for most people yet if you're sensitive to that kind of thing. And that's unfortunate. This game came in kind of hot on all consoles, but it's a really good fucking game. And in a month or so, it's going to be immaculate. So
the only issue I've run into performance-wise on PS5 is actually an input issue. And whereas sometimes I'll hit a button and just on the controller and just nothing happens. And it's cost me a couple fights where I'm trying to drink I just call them an Estus flask because I can't remember what they're called.
Trying to sip the juice.
Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to drink my juice. And I'll hit square and nothing happens, and then I get flattened. And that's happened more than once, and it is extremely annoying when it does. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen, and it's fucking irritating. Why is Britt laughing?
Nothing.
What happened?
Because I have the mind of a fucking teenager.
Me and Britt are chaos over here. Just continue.
Yes, you both of you are.
I think From is in like kind of a weird place where there was a recent remake of one of their games that was finally one that ran extremely well and looked really great, and then their next game feels like a kind of a big step back in a lot of ways on that front technically.
I think it looks gorgeous. Like I don't like.
It looks like Dark Souls 3, but with
no,
yes,
dude. I gotta disagree with you there, man. Like I
it
walked
looks like
out
Dark
into the
Souls
world
3
for the first
with
time.
like much better foliage. Finn has had his hand up
I
forever.
don't know, man.
Finn.
I walked out into the world for the first time, saw the Erd tree, and just like it took my breath away.
Finn.
I was like, shit.
I've seen shit like that in every Dark Souls. Finn.
Hello, yes, I have a question for Rebert and then everyone else on the panel.
Yeah.
How can I help you?
What kind of character are you playing in Elden Ring? What is your class? What is your play style? I'd like to see how different everyone is.
Oh, so I'm playing a magic build. So my previous Souls experience has been limited to about 15-20 hours of Dark Souls, which I really liked, but I got distracted by something. I think I was reviewing a game and I got distracted by something else, never came back to it. And I played a magic build in that game, and I just like playing pew magic characters. So I made an astrologer. That's the class that I picked. And I actually got code like not as early as John did, but like a day and a half before the game came out. So there's not guides at this point. So I'm just throwing points into stats, hoping something works. And at the moment, it's working pretty well because like I finally got some magic gear because there's not a lot of magic gear early on. And now I have a bunch of cool, like I have this, oh guys, I can like conjure this giant fucking blue sparkly magic bow out of thin air and shoot a giant fucking sparkly magic arrow like a gajillion feet at guys that are way the fuck over
Just
there.
Sailor
Moon
that shit.
I missed you so much, Rev.
Cool. I'm so fucking magic.
Ooh, that's
awesome.
what I've been
Really
missing
cool.
right. That's the energy I've been missing right there. Rev, by the way, I love that you're rocking the Burger King look. I'm so happy
Not
about
anymore.
that.
I got a better hat than the burger. So the Burger King hat lowers. The Burger King hat.
What is the Burger King hat?
The Burger King
Derek,
hat makes me
Tall,
smarter.
pointy hat.
I'll send you a
Derek.
link. The
Rev,
Burger
can you
King
please
hat
explain
makes
the
me
Burger King
smarter.
hat?
I'll
I
look it
can't
up.
explain it. It's a Burger
I'll look
King
it
hat.
up.
It looks
thought
like
he
the
was-
Burger King
Twitter,
mask.
With
thought he was the
screenshots
Burger
on my
King?
Twitter. But there's so I've got a Burger King hat that makes me smarter.
Oh,
but
it sure the fuck is a Burger King mask. Wow.
But it costs me health and stamina. And I recently got an extremely pointy wizard hat that gives me
Yes, that's the
not-
one. Like, I think of Elden Ring, and I'm like, that's the hat I think of because of you.
But it's not. It gives me some intelligence, but it doesn't give me as much as the Burger King hat. But it doesn't give me a hit to health and stamina. So I only use the Burger King hat when I need to be really fucking smart.
I feel like the Burger King hat is something that like stealth type builds need to wear, because I absolutely see the Burger King like sneaking up on people and just like,
Well, he's the
You
Sneak
like-
King
Not
too.
improve your
Sneaking.
stealth in any way whatsoever. There's not really a way to do a stealth build because there's not like
There's not
So
stealth,
actually-
really.
there's not-
actually-
you can sneak, but there's not really a stat that I found that actually makes you more sneaky.
oh no,
Yeah.
Reb, I found the other day, and I was thinking about respecing into a stealth build or at least a dex build. I found an artifact that you can wear that eliminates all sound produced by the by your character. And
Just
just
like
like,
what
how
happened
Reb
to
is
Red.
muted right now.
That's
And,
nice. I like that.
And it is and so I put it on and you can't hear anything. Like if you're walking through water, no sound. If you swing your weapon, no sound. It muffles all noise that you
Oh,
make.
that's really good. I love
So-
that
so-
actually. That would solve many of my problems.
John, what type of character are you playing?
I am playing a big dude with a shit ton of armor and a huge sword.
I was gonna say a beefy meat man.
Yeah,
like
that's
what?
not
What
right.
else
Y-
would
yes.
John play?
Exactly.
John,
John
If he
playing a
could
beefy
swing a hammer,
game.
he would.
Do you have a big hammer?
One
Hey,
big
hey,
big shit himbo.
John, we're talking about your
Wait,
Elden Ring
what?
character, not you.
Exactly what Britt said. I'm a big meat man with a huge weapon that I swing at people, and I'm incredibly slow and I do fat rolls all over the place. That's me. That's me. I'm an impenetrable tank that is very slow.
Siege, what about you?
All right. I'm playing as a samurai because, you know, that Ronin mindset. No, the thing is, I kind of regret it like 5 hours in, but then I looked up a few guides that were like, no, if you build up, you know, dexterity and strength, you know, you'll be fine. And I found a bunch of cool loot that required like a certain amount of dexterity. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm gonna be this samurai. I like the unsheath ability a lot. I think it's like it's saved me from a lot of like, you know, really tough boss fights. And then I'll just build up and carry like a big sword around if I find one, so I can complete that like, you know, berserk cosplay. I also found some claws in Stormvale, so I look like Wolverine. That shit rules because I'm wearing like an imp. I'm wearing the imp mask, like the dog mask. I was going. So last night I was playing stealth. I was like playing online with my cousin, and I'm like, "Yo, watch this." And I stealth killed a dude with these claws, and he's like, "Ah, no way." So yeah, like Samurai. She's a whitewashed Latina, and I love her. I created the
not by choice. I have heard that the character.
No, I intentionally made her.
I mean, it's not Babylon's Fall bad, but
I intentionally made her whitewashed. I'm like, no, this needs to reflect like me somehow.
I think it was Imran that made that tweet, huh? When he was trying to.
That was Babylon's Fall.
Babylon's Fall. Yeah.
Oh, was it?
That was Babylon's Fall.
A lot of people thought that was Elden Ring for some reason. Which I guess I understand why people think it is because like Elden Ring is the game everyone's playing right now, and there's like. If you look at the two visual styles side by side, they're not the same. But I think without context, if you're looking at the character creator, I see what people.
I mean, Elden Ring also like does not have good hair options for natural like African American style,
and that's why I assumed because I don't play Elden Ring.
But you can at least make people who look like black people. Just
okay, that Babylon's Fall thing. Like I've watched that video several times, just trying to understand what I was looking at, and like the color tones, like they're not even like actual skin tones. They're like weird light shades of green instead of like black and brown for like the darker skin colors, and then they also don't match between what you select and what appears on the character.
Nope.
I've always wanted to play as a white person, so I'm glad this comes out for people like me.
There's just like no opportunity.
You can be light green now. CJ, you can be light green now.
Now you can be Gringo Gracie.
I can finally get privilege in a game, and I'm gonna use that.
Finally, as a white beardy
I'm gonna be like you guys. I can't wait. I can't wait.
I've spent my whole life.
It's gonna be like that moment in Lost. If you've ever seen Lost, now you're like me.
Yeah.
Like that's.
I'm so ready.
I've spent my whole life feeling unrepresented in media as a
my
white
fellow
beardy masked person.
My fellow Mayo maniacs. We're all gonna get together.
CJ, how do you think I feel? I look like every default character in a Call of Duty or otherwise.
The Batman
CJ,
bugs, the Arkham bugs.
Yeah, I look like the guy who yells, "It's the bat!" Like it's.
You do now, CJ. You do got to start putting raisins in your potato salad.
No, never in my life.
I need you to throw away all of your seasoning. You can keep salt and pepper.
I love how Britt suddenly made that connection in her head. She's like, "Oh my god, you do!
You do! You absolutely just you absolutely look like a goonie in a video game, like a goon, a mobster goon.
You fucking
no, you had it right with Goonie. He looks like
She's got her hand up.
Reb. Oh, I'm willing to let this continue. I have a thing once you're all
yes,
done.
Rebert has.
I don't want to stop this. This is very good. Okay, I had a question actually very specifically for Derek. Derek, real quick, how many hours have you put in by now?
A little over 20.
Okay, have you met a gentleman named Blythe?
Maybe?
Also spelled Blade.
I don't think I have. So like a very like Gaelic kind of naming convention. Yes. I don't think I have. The name doesn't sound familiar to me.
Derek, I feel like as a fellow bisexual,
person of culture.
Yeah, you should. There's a couple characters I feel like you should meet. One of them is Blythe, and the other one I don't quite want to mention yet because I think she's far enough in that it might upset people if I bring her up. But
yeah. Oh, is this the motherfucker I keep seeing on loading screens?
Oh,
the guy with the wolf face.
Oh, that's yeah. No, absolutely, complete like monster fucker energy for sure.
Yeah, we
like
that's not a mask.
I'm not a furry, but I'd bone down the wolf man.
Oh yeah,
there's no question.
The best part is, Derek, and I apologize for ruining this for you, but when you finally meet him, you will go up to talk to him, and when you see it from a distance, you think, yes, there he is, the wolf man, and you go up to him, and when you get up close to him, you realize, oh, I come up to his dick.
Yeah, he looks big.
That's about as tall as I am.
He looks, like I could throw him standing up, which is not really how that's supposed to work. But
yes,
Britt's like, you can say that.
She's not used to that kind of potty talk.
Yeah, guys, this is a podcast. Come on. Let's keep it.
Anyway.
Hey,
so Blythe and when you eventually meet her, Ronnie, you don't know who she is, but when you meet Ronnie and Blythe,
I have been playing. So let me say,
I will say this. Somebody in chat mentioned this. Yes, you can get Blythe's armor. I have his armor.
Okay. So what I was gonna say is I've been playing. I started as a samurai, much like CJ did. I've moved it into a kind of like a mixed, balanced physical build.
Mm-hmm.
So like balanced physical, like strength and dexterity, very high like health and endurance. I've touched none of the mental stats. No faith, no intelligence, no arcane.
How mind?
Going for like a quality build. And the thing is, I'm feeling like maybe I made a mistake. That's usually how I play the Souls games, but Elden Ring is a much less defensive game than Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, you really can get like a stocky medium shield and have enough stamina to tank out a few hits and keep it like a medium load of armor and really tear through those games playing defense. And you can't fucking do that in Elden Ring. Each attack takes way too much of your stamina, and each hit that you fail to if you get like your stamina depleted and you get into like hit stun because they broke through your shield, that lasts way longer. So it's more of an option than it was in like Bloodborne, but it's still.
Dude, it's so panic inducing when that happens, Derek. I'm like, oh shit.
I've gotten like one-shotted, all my stamina goes down. The absolute worst feeling in the world.
So I need to find a way to respec. Like,
you'll find one
relatively soon because
Derek, let me gently help you. How many rune bearers like
I've gotten past the first guy.
Okay, I would suggest beelining to the second one and beating them quickly.
Okay. Yep. Because what I want to do is go into more of like maybe like a dexterity and faith focused build, so I can do like incantations and have maybe either a little extra healing or like the fire spells are tied to incantations too, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking
what Red just said is exactly what you want to do.
You just have to hang in there long enough to beat that second boss, and all of your problem. Well, you might still have one problem, but you will at least have an answer to what you're asking.
It's Elden Ring. It's gonna give me some trouble, but
so I have a quick question to Derek, and then I'm sorry, we'll move on. But like, okay, are you watching like people like like what people are sharing on Twitter as far as like their
basically
like,
nothing? No,
you have because like I wanted to ask, like, basically I've seen people have like these great like these clips of them using big swords. There's like this cool slashing move on horse.
There's a great dexterity based curved greatsword that you can get relatively early on. CJ,
I have one. That's the thing.
The Bloodhounds.
No, who do I have? I have like the fucking what's it called? The one that you get like the guys on the horses have.
No. There's another one. There's an Everjail in the south of Limgrave.
Okay.
Go to that, and there's an optional boss. He's not super hard.
What like I wanted to ask is like, do you like, because now like you said, you're kind of regretting it. Like, do you feel envious then if you see like anyone else just kind of like pulling off moves that you wish you couldn't with your current build?
What it's not the physical stuff. I'm seeing people do all the cool magic shit, and I'm sitting here and like I like the melee combat in Dark Souls games, but I'm hitting a wall where I'm not getting like better, meaningfully better. I've been using the fucking Uchi the whole time because no weapon feels better to me. But neither the like dex scaling is making it do enough damage, or like I don't know. There's a really great rune farming area that you can access right now, Derek. There's a place. The enemies are worth like $1,000 a piece. You can
rank them up. I've got one question for everybody here who's played Elden Ring, and it's, how does From Software follow this up? Because I feel like this is the apex
of a while
what Souls has done, right? Like it's, and I honestly, I mean, look at it's got a 96 Metascore. I don't know how From Software improves on the Souls formula going forward. I've been thinking about what else they could do with this, and I literally can't come up with anything.
I mean, I think they're allowed to just give us more of this for a little while, right? Yeah. I mean, that's sort of what we said with Breath of the Wild, right? Like, how do they improve on this? And the answer, apparently, is to make us teleport through platforms in the sky. I don't know what that patent was about. But, yeah, I mean, they don't have to. And I think that's the thing that's blowing my mind so much about Elden Ring above all else is like I've played Dark Souls and I've seen enough of Dark Souls 2, 3, Bloodborne, and Sekiro to know what they're about. And they're all very impressive games in their own ways. Like they're all generally quite good to great, depending on where you stand on the Souls games. But I feel like they surpassed themselves like so completely. Like this still has the good feelings that you get from Dark Souls. Like I very specifically remember the way I felt when I'm going through that first area in Dark Souls, the undead Berg Parish, whatever that town is, the first one, the very first one, and that specific
undead Parish.
Yeah, that specific feeling you get when you go and you kill a guy, and then you kill the 2 more guys, and then you kill like 4 guys, and then you die to the guy right behind them, but you learn, and then you kill all those same guys again, and you get like 4 or 5 guys down the road, and eventually you just keep repeating, but you make that progress every time, and it feels so good to just learn that area so well. And you get that in like Stormvale Castle, like that is still basically the exact same thing they've been very good at. But then they took that, and instead of just copy pasting it into an open world and making like this dense, obnoxious fucking open world that sucks shit, like they took that idea, that like feeling, and they put it into an open world with like individual smaller spaces and curiosities, and they learned a bunch of things from games like Breath of the Wild and other games, and they made it their own. And like I don't know, I've so rarely seen a studio like understand itself so well to do something like that. And so I think it's okay if like for a generation or more, they just kind of vibe and make more of this. Like they don't need to impress me further. I will just take more Elden Ring. That's fine.
I mean, we're going to absolutely get DLC for this, right? Like there's 100% DLC coming.
Fucking hope so.
I mean,
it's
pretty iterative with like the Dark Souls games.
All the Dark Souls games got DLC expansions. Bloodborne did.
And like, so like,
didn't.
I imagine they're just kind of gonna build on what they did with Elden Ring for a little bit, because it probably took a lot of focus and changing how they go around approaching like level design and stuff. So I imagine they're probably gonna want to keep working in that kind of framework for a while.
Yeah, I mean, they made Dark Souls and it was brilliant, and then they spent like 5 more games basically making more Dark Souls in slightly different ways. So I assume they're going to spend like 5 more games making more Elden Ring in slightly different ways.
Like we all, like, people knew this was going to be good because From Software makes good games, but I don't think anybody was expecting it to be quite this good.
I don't think I was expecting to be converted. That's what's weird, because like now
I'm so happy you were.
I'm trying to wrap my head. So like, where do we go? Yeah, like where do we go from here? I don't even know, because I'm still trying to wrap my head around this game and trying to wrap around like what the hell I'm doing playing a Souls game.
I also just think it's funny, so like good. There has been one reviewer that said they finished the game. I haven't heard a single other person report actually finishing this game.
Justin, yet. I'm 90 hours in. I'm nowhere near done, and it's because I don't want to finish it. Like I want to keep running through this world and finding. I am in no rush to finish Elden Ring because I want to keep experiencing it. I have never seen a game with so much shit to do as I have with Elden Ring. And I, like Derek said earlier, hey, it's Stormy. What's up, Stormy? The game is so much better for not having checkpoints and towers you have to unlock. And the game, it drops you into this incredible world and says, maybe go this direction if you want. And you'll find something over here. And what I love about this is that I consider it from like an enemy and a boss standpoint to be the most difficult of the Souls games, but it's also one of the most forgiving in that if you're banging your head against an extremely difficult enemy or boss, you can just run the opposite direction in the world and go find a billion other things to do. And that to me is such a game changer for the Souls franchise. And I hate making the Breath of the Wild, like this is the Breath of the Wild of this and this is the Breath of the Wild of that, but this really does for the Souls games what Breath of the Wild did for the Zelda games, in the sense that it took something that was familiar and completely reinvented it. And I am so in love with this fucking game, man. I'm over the moon for it.
I do think another point that's like worth making is there's like 2 things going on here. I think like on one hand, it it is still like inaccessible for many people in many ways. Like I think
I agree.
It's hard to talk about because I think there is an inherent magic in like certain things being vague and purposefully requiring certain kinds of skills. But I also think that shouldn't stop people from playing games ever.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I do not know. I'm not a game designer. I do not know what accessibility while preserving that feeling looks like. But after seeing the ways that they have transformed what Dark Souls was, I have no doubt that if they wanted to put energy and time towards this, they could absolutely figure out what accessibility for this looks like. I mean, we see it with like the Forza Horizon series. Like nobody could have predicted we were going to have fucking sign language interpreters on screen.
Yeah.
And yet here we are because some clever people prioritized this and figured it out. So I have no doubt that this team could figure out if they wanted to make it a priority, and they absolutely fucking should. That said, the other thing that is not an accessibility conversation, it's a difficulty conversation, is that, you know, Souls games are difficult. And I think there's like two things happening here. One, they are difficult, but two, ever since like Dark Souls 1, I think they have gotten a particular reputation for being more difficult than they are. Because if you actually play Dark Souls 1, it is like super challenging, but it's not challenging in like this maddening way, right?
It's
like
fair.
It's specifically trying to teach you through play and like reiteration. And there are people who bounce off of that. Absolutely. And if that's not for you, it's not for you. But it's not like just this menacing. It's not like fucking, what's that game that used to show up in like YouTube clips all the time of like, I want to be the guy, where it's just unfair. There's like spikes coming out of nowhere.
Shit, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That's not what this game is, but that's like the reputation that it's like, it's in there.
Or like those Mario hacks.
That's not what this is.
Like Crash Bandicoot 1 is more inaccessible than a Souls game. Like that game is like bullshit. Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? Like
that game's fucking hard.
The Souls series has gotten this reputation, and I think that's put so many people off. And I think what Elden Ring does so brilliantly is it doesn't just respond to people who have legitimately played these games and think, hey, some of this is not quite fair, but it is also responding to the discourse around them. And it looks at that and says, okay, there are some things we can do to make this more meaningful to people. Here they are. And the answer is giving checkpoints right before bosses, but still making the bosses have that feeling of overcoming and overcoming and overcoming. The answer is giving so many things to do that instead of like Justin has described to me, feeling like it was frustrating and going to play a different game, instead of going to play a different game, you turn around and you go do something else in the world, and that makes you stronger to go back and fight that boss later. Like, they have answered those questions. Maybe not all of them, but many of them. And I think that is just an absolute fucking triumph to engage in that discourse with your game and make it better as a result.
I think the checkpoint before boss thing will actually go a ways for me too, because like recently I played like Ghost Runner, which is a very, very difficult game. Requires a lot of trial and error, but it's instant and you're back. Like, you die, you're instantly back into it. You can learn, you can try again. And the added, amount of like, oh, you have to walk back and potentially be careful because you could also take damage or screw something up on your way walking back. Like, it didn't allow me to like practice and learn in the way that I like to with difficult games.
The run back sucks so much shit in Souls games. Like, and usually it's not bad, but the couple times when it is bad,
it's the worst.
Yeah, but when it's bad, it's bad.
Right.
Yeah. Now it's funny because there are actually a couple of those boss runs that you have to do. There's one. There is a boss run before the second major boss in like the second dungeon, and it is not bad at all. Like, it's like fairly short. There's no required enemies. That you can just avoid them all. You basically just run up some stairs. But because everything else has basically checkpoints right outside the bosses, that run, I was just like, God, I'm so sick of running up these fucking stairs. Like, when can I stop running up these fucking stairs?
Is this Mario 64 all over again?
So we've been talking at length about Elden Ring, and I could fucking talk about this game all night. And into tomorrow. In fact, what I'm going to do after we're done with this podcast here is I'm going to go fucking play Elden Ring, because just like Reb said earlier, I've got a billion things I want to do in Elden Ring, and there's a billion things that are going to distract me from those fucking things.
John, let's record like 5
podcasts
to Elden Ring.
I
got a Wolfman to find. Are you kidding me?
Derek,
we
I can tell you
that already.
After the podcast, you want me to tell you where to find him? Like,
no.
Or No? Okay.
That would ruin the romance of it.
Okay, I just want to make sure he finds his Wolfman.
Let the person stumble upon their Wolfman.
Yes. Yeah.
I just want to make sure he finds Wolfman. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. But by the way, Reb, that quest, that whole Wolf Blide quest is extremely long and extremely cool. And I'll be interested to hear your thoughts at the end of that whole quest line because it's a lot. We did have another topic to talk about tonight, as much as we all want to keep talking about Elden Ring, and that is Pokemon 9 or Pokemon Gen 9. The
Scarlet and Violet.
Finally, Grasscat Gang, rise up.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to know. What does everybody want to choose, or if you're not going to play, what would you choose?
Oh, well, it's the beautiful
fire alligator.
It's the hot pepper gator for sure.
Yes, for sure.
With the craft cheese on his chest.
Yes.
We love a little
I'm
gator
sorry,
boy.
but there was a rumor, like at first people were claiming his name was Hog Gator. He absolutely should have been Hog Gator.
No,
Like, come on, like,
no.
He's
We love him.
Sounds like a lazy name, John. Like not even like come on, like not even.
I love Hog Gator.
So let me give some background on what's going on here. So we had Pokemon Day recently, and they streamed a bunch of updates to a bunch of mobile games and free update to
Pearl,
Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and then to Pokemon Legends Arceus. But then they announced Scarlet and Violet Gen 9 out of the blue, coming later this year,
somehow.
which is wild, and it
weird.
looks to be continuing off of Legends Arceus. It's keeping those kind of mechanics and that style, but it's going open world. And
well,
also,
no, hold on. So we don't know. We don't know.
No, they said in tweets, didn't they?
They
that
straight
it's
up said
world.
open world.
Yeah, they said
No,
open
okay,
world.
no, it is open world. I'm not disagreeing with that, but like the Pokemon capturing of just flinging Pokeballs and
we
don't
physically
know.
have not seen that, but we have seen like it's pretty clearly on Legends
That's
Arceus
like one of the
system.
quality of life changes that
You see too
Arceus
many like
did.
Pokemon like hanging around in the open world and like in the towns. Like it looks like Legends Arceus and not like any of the games before, but it looks dead up like Legends. It is in a region clearly inspired by Spain and Portugal, which is kind of interesting. We've not had
I got those vibes too. Yeah.
Well, no, it's clearly you can see the map in the at one point, and it's clearly based on Spain and Portugal together. It's just very interesting because like we had Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, admittedly from an outside developer that was not done by Game Freak. It was not developed by Game Freak, I should say. Just in November, right? And we just had Legends Arceus come out in what?
January.
January.
Late January. So
End of. Yeah.
And now we're talking about a new, what looks like bigger and more traditional Pokemon game.
Wasn't Pokemon Snap released last year too?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was Bandai Namco.
That was
them?
Bamco.
It's just weird, like how many Pokemon games are, and like I guess
Sure.
now since
There's
it's
a bunch
one console.
but there's also like a lot of difference between a lot of these games.
Yeah.
But it's so wild to me that we've got Legends Arceus, which really upset the formula and changed so many of the key mechanics around. And now it looks like and part of me wants to say that everything I wanted when playing Legends Arceus was like this, but a traditional Pokemon game. And now that's coming in way less than a year, but like, how does this turnaround even work?
I'm so worried.
I got a hot take for this.
Yeah.
Studios can work on more than one game at a time.
Well, that's true. That's true. I mean, that's true. But like Game Freak has traditionally been kind of overworked. And I think we're all just a little scared that like Game Freak's going in the wrong direction. But
yeah,
I
I would also add to that, like, we don't actually know how many internal teams Game Freak has, but we do
That's
know,
true.
like, a couple facts. We do know that Game Freak is smallish. Like, I mean, it's not like two people or anything like that, but
Right.
it's like small for a AAA studio, which is a AAA studio, but it's on the smaller side. We don't know how many teams there are, but like even discounting, like let's say there are two teams. Let's say there was a team that made Pokemon Legends Arceus. We know that Diamond and Pearl was Ilka. Then Sword and Shield was the last game made by this other team that is now working on Gen 9. I mean, that was like, I guess it was 3 years ago now, Sword and Shield, and they had DLC after that. So I guess that's like a little bit more of a reasonable time frame. But I think the Pokemon community is. Pokemon has had a rough transition. It really has. From because it was handheld for its entire lifespan, and then somewhere around X and Y, somebody got wind that Nintendo was eventually going to phase out handhelds and was going to move to console proper. And somebody at Game Freak said, "Crap, we need to figure out how to make this shit." So they started moving into 3D around X and Y, and they did it really. I think some of the final 3DS games that used 3D models but were still technically top-down games looked nice in their way. I mean, they look dated now, but they were trying new things that was cool. But then we made the jump to Switch, and can't pretend that Sword and Shield or Arceus looks good. They don't. They don't look good.
They don't at all.
And there's things about them that are very broken and messy. And I was willing to sort of bite my tongue and forgive it with Sword and Shield because it was their first foray on a Switch, and that shit's hard. But Legends Arceus did not look good. And I also I'm not going to recap my review for IGN here. You can go read that if you want. But man, that world felt empty as shit.
Yes, it did. Yes.
We're not for Sword and Shield ready for the open world, the semi-open world they were kind of creating. They were not ready for the open world in Pokemon Legends Arceus. And I am not really sure that 9 more months, 10 months is going to magically make them ready for a full-blown open world.
So the only thing I can think of, and this is the only thing that would give me hope for Scarlet and Violet, but it would also kind of break my heart a little bit about it feels a little skeezy, is that Legends Arceus was a tech demo for Scarlet and Violet, right? Because there's no way that Legends Arceus released and then got all this positive attention, and then they decided, oh, we're gonna make Scarlet and Violet like this, we're using some of these mechanics, right? That's not how it works. What that means is at some point early in Legends Arceus development, internal feedback had to be good enough on some of these changes that they went, a lot of this shit on this weird spinoff would work really well for the next main Pokemon game. So let's start doing that. But that would kind of mean that this game that's had much more time in the oven was built around some of the same mechanics that Legends Arceus was being built around. But that kind of requires you to acknowledge that they released a less good version of that game less than a year before they released the real version. And that doesn't feel good. And that's super reductive. But
I think. Go ahead.
I think just kind of some of the tech criticisms of Elden Ring and some of the ones for Pokemon, I think, kind of end up coming from the same place. These are very talented studios that just haven't put the focus on building the tech that they need to be able to craft the games that they need to make.
Pokemon needs to get off its own damn internal engine and use fucking Unity or some shit.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
They're both teams that they make great games. They're clearly trying to do stuff that the community wants. They're trying to push these things in different directions. But overall quality is hurt by them not having the tech base to be able to easily iterate and polish in the way that they need to. And it's difficult to try to keep on especially how aggressive the Pokemon release schedule is, and take the time to do that. But I think at some point you just need to do that in order to ensure that the future of these franchises can be built properly.
Yeah, I do have a gentler suggestion for Derek's hypotheses that I think is maybe a little less hopeful, but also a little less cynical simultaneously. So I think at some point, or when they realized they were gonna have to move to Switch, they said, okay, we need to move to something other than random encounters. We need to start having Pokemon wander around in the overworld. That's something we need to do, and that's fucking hard. That's real fucking hard, man. So I think they have been doing experiments into that little by little this whole time. It's not that they had any particular predictions about what would work and what wouldn't, But I think like they tried it a little bit with the wild area in Sword and Shield, and they had Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which is like a slightly different thing, but they still had Pokemon wandering around there. Ilka tried something with Diamond and Pearl, actually, in the underground area. There's Pokemon wandering around on the map, which is not really the same. It's a different studio, but still, it was like another experiment. Pokemon Legends Arceus was another experiment, albeit like a very successful one. I do not think that we're going to see the same thing we saw in Legends Arceus, where you can like do the stealth mechanics, like throw Pokeballs and just catch them from the overworld in Scarlet and Violet, because I think that was an experiment that they put in Arceus.
I agree.
In those games.
Yeah.
But I do think that the Arceus thing was part of a larger thing where they're trying out different ways of presenting Pokemon to you on the open world. I mean, I think it's going to be another situation where you still run into them, you touch them on the map, and you enter a turn-based battle of some kind. I think that's still going to be what it's going to be. But I wouldn't be surprised if they just, with each game, continue to like dip toes in different pools and like see which ones work. And here in a generation or two, we might see stuff like Let's Go. We might see stuff like Legends Arceus circle back around because it was so successful and they know that it really works.
It's like always both iterative and experimental.
You know, I noticed after the game announcement, the official Pokemon account put out a tweet and they very specifically said that, our big new open world adventure, right? And this is a question specifically for Reb because you wrote the review for Arceus, and I shared your criticism. Like I dropped off of it after loving it at the beginning. I dropped off of it because, aside from catching Pokemon, there's really not anything else to do in this huge open world. And I'm wondering, Reb, is Pokemon the right formula at all for a big open world game? Is their reach exceeding their grasp here? I've always been saying look, not everything needs to be open world, and at this point I'm not convinced Pokemon needs to be either.
No, I think it can be. I think there are certainly ways to do it, but I also think that they are very set to a particular way of working, and I don't know who's responsible for this. I don't know if it's Game Freak themselves. I don't know if it's a pressure from Nintendo. I don't know who is responsible for this, but Pokemon is very married to being a very specific kind of game, and I think if they wanted to do a Breath of the Wild ass shift, or I think Legends Arceus. I muted myself there. Yep. I think Legends Arceus was almost that. Like the core of that game is so interesting. Like it's one of the most. It is, I think, the most interesting thing Pokemon has done in decades.
Oh, but for sure.
It feels like a tech demo. It does. It feels like a
really
tech.
Does.
So much of it feels like a tech demo, and I think if they really wanted to get bonkers with it, yeah, I don't think they're ever going to make games that look like Elden Ring. I know it has problems and whatever, but they're not going to make games that look like that. But I think you can make worlds that are full like that. Even if they're not as big, you can make worlds that feel full and exciting without, going bonkers on technology.
I'll take dense and interestingly designed. It doesn't have to be massive and sprawling and 8,000 miles wide. I think
the old top-down Pokemon games were fairly dense, the older ones.
Yeah,
they super were.
I know nothing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna finish off with, I do lament a little bit the loss of top-down Pokemon. I don't think there's any. I actually really liked Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I didn't expect them to be platinum. I just innovative. I just wanted the old thing that I used to like redone, and that's exactly what Ilka did. And I think there is a sort of, because Game Freak was really good at sprites. You look at some of those old sprites, that old art.
I would love I would love just straight ports of Ruby and Emerald on Switch. Just port them. I don't need remakes. Just port the original games.
Sapphire, fuck off.
Anyway, I would love. I hope they continue to use Ilka to sort of bring back that, because I do think there is something special about the old, very strict top-down, turn-based Pokemon. I don't want that. I don't think that's the future of Pokemon. I don't think that should be every game or new gens anymore. I think, hi Zeke. I think we've moved on from that. But yeah, I think they could. I wish whoever is not being brave in the Pokemon Company triad right now were braver. That's what I wish.
Somebody in chat said 2D HD Pokemon. I'd be all about that.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting.
That does require
that would be
bravery.
really cool. That would be really cool. I actually I'm from a visual standpoint, I think Scarlet and Violet look great. I love the art design. The starters by far are the most interesting and adorable Pokemon starters I have seen in generations.
Really good.
They are great. My son's favorite animal is a duck. And so now that he can get an actual duck starter Pokemon named Quaxley, like he's over the fucking moon about that. He's like, Dad,
wait. It's Quaxley?
Yeah.
Quaxley.
Yes,
the little duck sailor boy.
We have
Quaxley.
the three.
It's a sailor?
Yeah.
Like Donald Duck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have the three extremely Spanish names of Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Quaxley.
Quaxley.
No.
His name is Quaxley.
Fucking way. Look at this little dude.
CJ!
Bro, I fucking love, Carl Barks' DuckTales. I fucking love Howard the Duck. This is game of the year right here.
You've had Quaxley for 30 seconds, and if anything happens to him, you'll kill everyone in the room.
I'm gonna go delete Elden Ring. I've never played a Pokemon game before. Fuck.
This is the relationship ended with Elden Ring. Now Quaxley.
Quaxley was the hero that we needed and deserved.
He looks like the Huey, Dewey, and Louie from the DuckTales.
He's a duck with a pompadour.
He has a pompadour.
It's fucking fantastic.
Give him a little suit. He'll look like Howard the Duck. Oh my god.
He actually would. Yeah, for sure.
That's his evolution. That's his final form.
He becomes Howard.
So like my starter's still going to be Hot Pepper Gator.
Hell yeah.
But Derek, that is the best description of a Pokemon starter I've heard. I remember I sent you a picture of him and I was like, dude, it's Dumpson. Like if Dumpson was a Pokemon, this is Dumpson.
It's just Bubble Bobble. It's the Bubble Bobble character.
He is. He looks like Bub.
Yeah, it really does.
That's what he reminds me of. Okay. Yeah, I've been trying to place why he looked familiar to me. That's it. Thank you.
Bubble. That's one of my favorite games of all time.
I love Bubble Bobble. I need to go back and play that now. I wish there was an easier way to play it. So we are a couple minutes past our time here, and so it is time, sadly, to wrap up. Reb, we have greatly enjoyed our time with you tonight. Thank you so much for coming back and bringing
all you himbo dipshits.
we miss you too a great deal. We were all so excited when we found you were coming back this week.
Yeah, Jeff wanted to be here.
Jeff wanted to be here. He unfortunately could not. But you guys can all find Reb on Twitter at Duck Valentine, and of course you can find all her bylines at IGN. She's doing incredible work. The next big name in investigative journalism in the gaming industry is right here. It's so cool to see how much you've done in just the short span of a year. We're all so proud of you, Reb, and we love you dearly.
Don't cry! Stop it!
And I just we wish nothing but the best for you going forward.
I love you too, fucker. Stop it.
So there are a couple links in chat. We of course have a Discord with over 350 people now. It's extremely wholesome and fun, and we focus on inclusivity and diversity and tolerance and mental well-being. So please come join our Discord. It's always busy. We always got a lot of people talking in there at once. We've also got some merch. We've got shirts, both in unisex and women's fit. We've got some summer tops. We've got some hoodies, which are probably out of season now. And we got some mugs. And every single dollar that you spend on any one of our shirts or hoodies or whatever's there on that store all goes towards numerous charities like Black Girls Code and Take This and the Trevor Project. We don't get a dime from it. All that money goes to various charities. So not only will you look extremely good in one of our super comfortable shirts, but you will also be supporting one of
very
various.
comfy.
They are massively comfortable.
I wear that shit all the time.
Inappropriate amounts of comfort in those fucking shirts. So you know what? Drape yourself in our finery.
There's no way that you could say that was going to be good. And
I was to say, wear us. Wear us.
Put us on. Yeah.
Wear us
put us
on. Bad opinion.
Absolutely. There you go. And of course, we've also got a Patreon that you are welcome to contribute to. We don't gate any of our content. At some point, we're going to be going back to cons, and we're going to use your help on Patreon to get us there. If nobody has anything else, Finn and Derek and I are going to be recording a. We're going to look at 20 minutes. We're going to review the entire Pixel Remaster releases and break apart whether or not those are the definitive versions of those games. So look for that next week. We've got a lot of great content coming up. But we got some really good Square Enix content coming up. Of course, we are Square Enix influencers and content creators. Which is still
Justin and I will be doing Horizon at some point when I've delved a little bit more into it.
Absolutely. And aside from that, if nobody's got anything else, remember, guys, kindness costs nothing. Now more than ever, we all need to take care of each other. There's a lot of bad shit happening out in the world, and I understand that some people may feel scared and some people may feel worried, and you may go to bed tonight and wonder what's coming tomorrow. But I promise you, we're gonna get through this. Everything's gonna be okay.
As we say in the program, one day at a time.
One day at a time. Absolutely. It's going to be okay. We are all going to be okay. And I don't mean that. I'm not saying that ironically or as a joke. Like it's going to be okay, guys. It really is. Take care of each other, and we'll see you next week.